Welcome to the channel Get Rich. Today, the company we are going to look into is Delta Corporation Limited. If you are new to this channel, please click a subscribe button below and also a little bell icon. So, Delta Corporation Limited is India's only listed company engaged in casino gaming. So, first, let's start with Indian gaming market. The gaming industry in India is estimated at 60 billion US dollar per year and is expected to rise with the growth of online gaming. Gross casino gaming in India is at a nascent stage with the size of the industry estimated at $200 million. Though there is strong appetite for gaming in India, restrictive laws have curbed the growth of the industry. 12 states offer lottery, 6 states offer horse racing, only 2 states, Goa and Sikkim, and 1 union territory, Daman, allow casino gaming. Other gaming avenues in India have been able to garner a huge market while the casino industry has lagged behind. Lottery has an estimated annual turnover of 12 to 14 billion US dollar. Horse racing has an estimated annual turnover of 250 to 400 million US dollar, while casino has an estimated annual turnover of 200 million US dollar. So if you look at the casino market in India, so it's 200 million US dollar. If you look at other countries, Vietnam has 300 million US dollar, Cambodia 1.5 billion US dollar, South Korea 2.6 billion US dollar, Philippines 2.8 billion US dollar, Malaysia it's 1.5 million US dollar, Singapore it is 4.1 billion, Macau, which is a leading market for casino, is 28 billion US dollar. So if you look at a commercial casino can take the form of a land-based facility, which is also called as onshore casino, or a river boat facility, which is also called as offshore casino, or an online casino depending on the jurisdiction. So the land-based casinos are housed within 5-star hotels and offer electronic games and slot machines. Offshore casinos are parked in vessels anchored in a river and can offer both live and electronic games. According to a joint report by KPMG and Indian Federation of Sports Gaming, the online gaming revenues in India have doubled over a period of 4 years, touching 43.8 billion in financial year 2017 to 18. This is expected to grow by 22.1% CAGR during financial year 2017 to 18 to financial year 22 to 23, reaching 118.8 billion. Let's look at Delta Corporation Limited. So Delta Corporation Limited is India's only listed company engaged in casino gaming in all live, electronic and online. They are the largest player in organized gaming. Their first mover advantage across the underpenetrated industry in India has enabled them secure a leadership position in the Indian gaming and entertainment industry. It is led by Chairman Mr. Jayadev Modi, a first generation entrepreneur and leading Indian real estate visionary. Delta Corp Limited is transforming into a gaming and leisure company of international standards. It is expanding gaming related business throughout India with a focus on Goa and the Indian online market. It is a leading gaming company in India, captured a lion's share of the Indian gaming market through its 5 casinos in Goa and Sikkim. The first ever World Poker Tournament organized in India was proudly hosted on board Deltin Royale, which is one of the vessels, which I will explain in detail. They also launched the first integrated casino resort in Daman, just a 2.5-hour drive from Mumbai. It is also well connected to Surat, Vadodara and Ahmedabad, 3 large affluent cities in Gujarat. They are expanding their horizons to increase visitation, augment gaming platforms and present newer ways of entertaining their customers. They are adding new casinos at Nepal and strengthening their presence in Sikkim. They have invested in the gaming portal HalaPlay to strengthen their online gaming vertical. They also joined hands with Jales Cruises to foray into the new lateral gaming vertical. Today, they hold 3 of the 6 offshore gaming licenses issued in Goa. 1 land-based casino each in Goa, Sikkim and Nepal to commence shortly, and the right to operate casino on Jales Cruises, adding up to 2000 plus gaming positions. If you are looking at their different casino businesses, in Goa, they have 3 offshore casinos and 1 land-based casinos. In Sikkim, they have 1 land-based casino. In Daman, they have 1 land-based casino. In Nepal, they have 1 land-based casino. So in Jales Cruises, they have 1 casino in first cruise liner floated, which is Karnika, They are the preferred partner for all cruise liners to set sail in the future. Through their hospitality business, which complements gaming, they own one hotel each in Goa and Daman with a proposed casino, which is subject to regulatory approval. Further, to strengthen the nascent but fast growing online gaming space in India, where they already won the gaming portal Ada52.com. They have now invested in Halaplay, a formidable fantasy sports website. Today, they have achieved a pole position in the industry and have emerged as one of the fastest growing casino companies. They have complemented their gaming strength with top class hospitality with approximately 275 rooms to offer a matchless experience. If you look at their revenue, where are their revenue coming from which business, how much percentage of the revenues are coming from? 80% of their revenue is coming from their casino business. 14% of their revenue is coming from online gaming business. 6% of their revenue is coming from hospitality. So let's have a look at each of their businesses. Starting with casino business, let's start with their offshore casino business. They own and operate Deltin Royal, the country's largest offshore casino, and Deltin JAQK and Deltin Caravella. Deltin Royal, the flagship destination. So, with 5 operational decks, Deltin Royal is Asia's largest offshore gaming vessel and a premium casino that attracts the most affluent segment of players in the market. It offers 964 plus gaming position spread across 65,000 square feet, comprising 120 plus gaming tables, 4 VVIP gaming rooms, and 60 plus slot machines. It has India's largest dedicated poker room, Royal Poker Room. It has world-class dining and entertainment spread across 10,000 square feet. The first ever World Poker Tournament organized in India was proudly hosted at Deltin Royal. Looking at their second offshore casino, which is Deltin JAQK, which is mass focused, it is operational since 2008. Deltin JAQK with 4 decks caters primarily to the value oriented segment. It is spread across 40,000 square feet and has a separate VIP gaming area and offers 431 plus gaming positions, comprising 50 plus gaming tables and 15 plus slot machines. It provides entertainment for an entire family with a dedicated playroom and a cliche for toddlers. The casino is also equipped with an aqua bar and 2 VIP suites. So this is mass focused asset catering to each segment of the market, particularly the value oriented. So the gaming area spread across 13,000 square feet. So looking at their third vessel, which is Deltin Caravella, which is VIP focused. So Deltin Caravella is a high-end gaming destination with 217 plus gaming positions spread across 25,000 square feet. This has been increasing Goa's share of top-end luxury segment of tourists and caters to the discerning elite seeking solitude and luxury. It is a high-end product focused exclusively on the nascent VIP market. Luxury suites as well as spa facilities are available. They have a top-end food and beverage offerings. So these are the 3 offshore casinos they have. So let's have a look at the offshore casinos which is present in Goa. So other than Deltin Caravella, Deltin JAQK, Deltin Royal, they have Maharaj Casino and Casino Pride 2 and Casino Pride. So they have a ownership of Pride Group, these 2, Casino Pride and Casino Pride 2, and MDLR Group, which is Maharaj Casino. So the Casino Pride started operations in 2008 and Deltin Caravella started in 2000 and then decommissioned in May 2013 and recommissioned back in 2016. Deltin JAQK, which rebranded in 2013. Deltin Royal started operations in 2013. Maharaj Casino restarted operations in 2018. Their license had earlier lapsed in 2012. So if you look at the gaming positions, the Casino Pride has 500 and Deltin Caravella 150 plus, Deltin JAQK 430 plus, Deltin Royal 950 plus. So they are a market leader in casino business in Goa. If you look at their land-based casinos, they have land-based casinos, one in Goa, one they are proposing in Daman and one in Sikkim. So first one, which is Deltin Suits, which is a land-based casino in Goa. So Deltin Suits is a 106 room all suite hotel and casino in Goa with a gaming area aggregating 1000 square feet with 59 plus gaming positions. The hotel offers a complete family entertainment package to its guests. Located at a distance of 5 to 10 minutes from the popular Candolim and Calangute beaches, it is close to the boarding points for the offshore casinos. It has two bars and two restaurants. So if you have a look at the second one, which is proposed in Daman, so the Daman, the Deltin, the next frontier. So the Deltin Daman is a 176 room 5-star deluxe property and the largest integrated resort spread over 10 acres with 3 lakh square feet of developed area. It is the first and only 5-star hotel in Daman with a proposed casino, which is subject to regulatory approval. It offers the largest banquet facility in the area with 3 bars, 4 specialty restaurants, 20,000 square feet of indoor event catering to weddings and MICE space, and 8,000 square feet high-end retail space. It is likely to host a land-based casino, the first of its kind in the region, based on necessary regulatory approval. The hotel is a 2.5-hour drive from Mumbai and a similar driving distance from major cities in Gujarat, making it an attractive destination for tourists in both the states. So Daman is a union territory situated between Gujarat and Maharashtra, which is 2.5 hours drive from Mumbai, 1.5 to 4 hours drive from major cities of Gujarat. So it is a driving destination for a large catchment of over 35 million people. It has large visitation numbers from Gujarat due to its status as a dry state. So the Deltin is the first and the only 5-star hotel in Daman with 3 bars and 4 restaurants. It has a proposed land-based casino with approximately 60,000 square feet of gaming space. Then the third one, which is in Sikkim, the only approved casino gaming outside Goa. To expand gaming footprint to other region, they partnered with Hotel Welcome Heritage Densang Regency to set up a casino in Sikkim. The casino, which services the eastern region of India, offers 206 plus gaming positions. It is going to spread across 15,000 square feet gaming area and has a separate VIP gaming area. Sikkim is a picturesque mountainous state in northeastern India, bordering China, Nepal and Bhutan. It is the only Indian state in addition to Goa to permit casino gaming. So Delta leases the casino space from the hotel and is responsible for its day-to-day operations and management. The casino opened in January 2017 and comprises 200 plus gaming positions. So they are also planning to expand in Nepal. So they have joined hands with Nepal-based Everest Hospitality and Hotel Private Limited to operate a casino in the 235-room 5-star Marriott Hotel in Kathmandu. This is in line with the company's strategy of expanding its imprint in the region. The casino is spread across 15,000 square feet and has 220 plus gaming positions with a separate VIP gaming area. So if you have a look at the competitions from land-based casinos, so it's mostly Pride Group. They have Casino Palms and Casino Paradise, and Delta Group has Deltin Suites Casino. These are the land-based casinos which are available in Goa. The online platform. So the India's online gaming market growth is driven primarily by the growth of its middle class as well as increasing internet penetration, both of which remain relatively small as compared to the standards of developed nations but are growing rapidly. In India, there are 3 games which are considered games of skill and can be played legally even with money and profits involved. These 3 games are poker, rummy, and fantasy sports. So in September 2016, Delta acquired through merger GOS Network Private Limited, which owns the online portal Adda52.com. So they have a revenue of 125 crores in financial 2018 and 87 crores in financial 2017 and 53 crores in financial 2016. Over 95% of revenue from poker and remainder from rummy. So through the acquisition of online poker site Adda52.com, they established their presence in India's online gaming business. Adda52.com currently offers online games like poker and rummy. They also own stake in Halaplay, one of India's formidable skill-based fantasy sports website. Through online gaming, they are reaching out to a larger customer base across India, thereby enhancing their offline gaming business. So their presence in online gaming has steered them towards being a leading gaming player with presence across multiple formats. So they recently acquired 19.55 stake by investing 20.5 crores in Halaplay, a fantasy sport. Also, the other thing if you have to talk about, which is Deltin Poker Tournament. So the Deltin Poker Tournament, which is powered by Adda52.com, is India's biggest poker tournament series held at Asia's largest offshore casino, Deltin Royal Goa, and caters to a wider audience. So then coming to the next one, which is Jalais Cruises. Delta owns the right to operate and manage the casino on the first cruise vessel and also the right to operate casinos in all further cruise vessels of Jalais. So they acquired in excess of 25% stake by investing up to 70 crores in Jalais Cruise. So they are starting casinos on cruises. This is really good. Why? Because the land-based casinos and offshore casinos, they have to get a lot of licenses and they have a lot of regulations. But if you are operating on cruises in the foreign waters, they don't have to get any licenses or any regulations are required to expand their business. So this is one of the exciting things they are doing in Delta Corp Limited. This can be easily scaled up and it is comparatively asset light business. Let's have a look at the regulations. Under the Indian Constitution, state legislatures have been entrusted with the power of frame specific laws. So vast differences in the regulations of gaming in India with high entry barriers, strict regulations and a cap on the number of licenses is very difficult for a new player to enter into this business. Casinos are currently allowed in Goa, Sikkim and Daman. For Daman, license yet to be issued by government. So certain states have recognized games of skill and such games are not regulated by gaming laws casino formats. So the Goa, Daman and Diu Public Gambling Act 1976 allows onshore casinos to be set up only at 5-star hotels or offshore vessels with prior permission from the government. The state government of Goa has the authority under law to issue licenses and rules to regulate casinos. Casino licenses are typically awarded for a term of 5 years with fees payable annually, and there are currently 6 offshore casinos and 7 onshore casinos. Gaming tax has been now subsumed under GST and the applicable rate is 28% Daman and Sikkim gambling regulations. If you are having a look at the fees over years, so the application or renewable fee, which is a frequency which is once in 5 years. So in financial 2016, it's 20 lakh, which is application and renewable fee. In financial 2017, it's still 20 lakhs, but in 18, it increased to 30 lakhs. In financial 2019, it increased to 1 crore. If you look to the entertainment tax or GST, it was 15% of the revenues in financial 15, 16 and 17, and it increased to 28% of revenues in financial 18 and 19, which in turn has an impact in profit margin. Also, if you look at the entry tax, it is also increased. So these fees can be changed by the government anytime, and also they can change the taxes. So this is also one of the risks we have to consider. So they have a lot of regulations. They cannot easily expand their business. They have to get a lot of prior licenses and they have to abide by a lot of regulations to expand their businesses. The license is also you have to renew for every 5 years. So if you are looking into their locations of operations, they are present in Goa, Daman and Sikkim. So they are close to major metropolitan cities. So for example, Ahmedabad, New Delhi, Hyderabad, Mumbai, Chennai, Bangalore, Kolkata, they are operating close to these cities. So Goa is widely touted as the gaming capital of India. In commercial year 2016, Goa hosted 6.33 million tourists. So if you are looking at the growth, this is a growth of 102.8% in 4 years. So the duration of stay for domestic tourists is nearly 5 days. So Delta Corp currently holds 3 of the 6 offshore gaming licenses in Goa. So they are clearly the market leader. So then if you are looking into their other growth opportunities, so they have further expanded their gaming capacities by adding casinos at attractive locations such as Nepal and Sikkim. In fact, they are increasing the size of their Sikkim casino as they poise themselves for a footfall increase in view of the recent operationalization of Pakyong Airport. So at Daman, they have a presence by way of luxury hotel which is casino ready as they await a government approval for operating a casino. While they are in the hospitality business which complements gaming, they would like to mention that their hotels in Goa and Daman are now breaking even at EBITDA level and generating cash profit. With Daman being recognized as a weekend gateway and with their hotel being the only 5-star property within a long stretch, it has fast emerged as a perfect destination for large-scale wedding and also caters to the MICE segment. So also they forayed into cruise gaming through investment in Jalais Cruises by becoming their preferred partners for gaming centers and casinos for all their cruise liners. They expect this to usher in a new era in gaming and lead to a rise in their patrons. So also they have connectivity to a lot of main cities. For example, if you look at Mumbai, so which have a connectivity to Daman. If you look at the distance from Daman, it's 180 kilometer. The population of Mumbai is 21.5 million. Surat 4.5 million, distance from Daman is 120 km. Vadodara is 1.8 million, Ahmedabad 7 million. So it's all in the reachable distances. So another thing, if you have to look into that, is with growing internet penetration and data availability becoming easier, and with their gaming portal Ada52 performing well, they continue to maintain their focus on digital gaming. Today, they are well established not only as a casino company but as an entertainment destination for delivering an unparalleled experience to the entire family. They have acquired 100 acres of land for setting up a fully integrated resort with the finest entertainment, food, fashion, music, and shows and casinos. So going forward, they estimate growth to be driven by an increased momentum, rising footfalls, and improving gaming revenue in Goa. Their investments in cruise gaming, new casinos, and online fantasy game will also continue to contribute to profitability. Also, if you have a look at the other thing, which is Deltin Poker Tournament, which is powered by Ada52.com, it is India's biggest poker tournament series held at Asia's largest offshore casino, Deltin Royal Goa, and caters to a wider audience. So they launched it in January 2016. DPT is one of the most loved poker events in India. Going from strength to strength, the popular Poker Fiesta promises something for everyone. This multiplayer tournament has been consistently growing in terms of turnouts and has time and again broken its own turnout record over the past years. Overall, these tournaments are exciting, lucrative, and invaluable for an end-to-end gaming experiences. So they have huge growth opportunities. Also, they have huge risks as well. So they have to have a lot of regulatory concerns. They have to obtain licenses, and they cannot expand easily in land-based or offshore casinos without getting licenses. These are the risks, but at the same time they are foraying into Jalais cruises that they can easily scale their business. They are also foraying into online gaming business. It is easily scalable. So but still their revenue from the online gaming is just 14% now, but in the future it is expected to rise. Let's have a look at their financials, how they are growing. So if you look at their revenues in financial 2016, it's 375 crores. In financial 20, it is expected to be 852 crores, but they did around 750 crores or so. So if you look at their growth, it was 25% in financial 2016, 21% in financial 2017, in financial 2018 is 34%, financial 2019 is 34%, in financial 20 they decreased by around 6% growth. So it is because of the lockdown and these situations. So also if you look at the EBITDA, so it's 120 crores in financial 2016, and in financial 2020 it is expected to be 337 crores. So if you look at the EBITDA margin, it's 32.2% in financial 2016. It is increasing to 36% and 40%. Currently, it stands at around 40%. So I expect the EBITDA margin to be remain at 40 to 42%. So I'm not seeing it rising further. Also, if you look at the compounded sales growth for 10 years, it's 23%. 5 years, it's 7%. 3 years is 29%. So if you look at their adjusted profit after tax, so in financial 2016 it's 31 crores, in financial 2017 it's 70 crores, in financial 2019 it's 195 crores, in financial 2020 they did around 186 crores. If you look at the growth, it's 127% in financial 2017 and 120% in financial 2018 and 25% in financial 2019, and I expect them to be growing at around 20 to 25%, but not for the next year, but from the year after. So if you look at the compounded profit growth, it's 10 years CAGR of 43%, 5 years CAGR of 36.5%, 3 years CAGR of 78%. So if you have a look at their balance sheet, so they have a total assets of 713 crores in March 2008, and now they have 2142 crores in March 2020. If you look at their reserves, they have 1928 crores. If you look at their borrowings, they don't have any debt at all, so they are a debt-free company. So if you have a look at the total net assets in financial 2015, they have 785 crores. In financial 2019, they have 1942 crores. So if you have a look at their return on capital employed, it's just 3.7% in financial 2015, and it increased to 15.8% in financial 2019. So it is increasing. So I like companies those having return on capital employed of higher than 15%. So they are just coming to that level. So also if you look at the return on equity, it's 3.9% in financial 2016, and now they increased to around 10%. So still they have to improve their return on equity, because I like companies having return on equity higher than 15%. So So if you look at their average return on equity for 10 years is 8.32%, 5 years it's 7.21%, 3 year it's around 10%. So then if you have a look at their debt to equity, so if you look at the gross debt, it's 352 crores in financial 2015, and they reduced it to 14 crores in financial 2018, and then they don't have any debt at all in financial 2019 and financial 2020. If you look at the debt to equity, it reduced from 0.5 to 0. Now they don't have any debt, so they are a debt free company. If you have a look at their cash flow, so the graph shows their operational cash flow in billion. So it's 60 crores in financial 2017. In financial 2019 it's 172 crores. These are the operational cash flow. If you look at the free cash flow, so for the past 2 years they were doing around 80 crores and 110 crores of free cash flow. So if you have a look at the shareholding pattern, promoter holds around 32.8%. So FII holds around 16.1%, public holds around 43.2%, mutual fund holds around 7%. If you look at over the several quarters, so the promoter holding dipped from 32.2% to 32.8%. Also, if you look at the promoter's pledge, it increased from 4.3% to 11.3%. It is a bit on the negative side because they don't have any debt, but the promoter is pledging to fund their some other business or personal reasons, so they are doing pledging, so they are increasing their pledge of the promoter shares, which is negative according to me. And if you look at the historical FII holding in Delta Corp Limited, it was 22.6% in June 2019. It decreased to 20.4%, and then 19.9%, and then 16.1%. So FIIs are decreasing their share, so that is also on the negative side. And then on the other hand, if you look at the domestic institutional investors or mutual funds, they are increasing from 2.8% in June 2019 to 7% in March 2020. So they are continuously increasing their shares. Mutual funds are increasing the shares in Delta Corp. So that is a positive. So if you have a look at the mutual fund shareholding changes over the past several months, so in August 2019, mutual fund increased by 2.9 million shares. In September 2019, they decreased by 53,498 shares. In October 2019, they increased 1.75 million shares. In November, 1.275 million shares. In December 2019, it's 2.2 million shares. So mutual funds are increasing their share. So in May 2020, 1 million shares are decreased by mutual funds. So mostly they are increasing their shares. Mutual funds are increasing their shares. So mostly who is buying, which is HDFC small cap fund, they are buying. So if we look at the shareholding of different mutual fund holders, so it's mainly HDFC small cap fund. They hold 1.05% of their AUM. Their AUM is 6,594 crores. They hold 1%, around 1% of their AUM, which is around 66 crores. Also, if you look at HDFC mid-cap opportunity funds, which has the 18,000 crores AUM, they hold around 0.43%. Also, they hold around 90 crores from HDFC mid-cap opportunities funds. Also, Tata small cap fund, ICICI Prudential, and Motilal Oswal, they are also holding a small percentage. So then let's have a look at the valuation. So if you look at the price chart of Delta Corporation Limited, they were selling at around 375 rupees at some point. Now currently they are trading at around 90 rupees. So they had a huge fall. If you have to do a projection for their revenues and net profit, so it's already very difficult to predict something because of the current situation. We don't know when the casinos will be opened and when this current situation will be resolved. So it is almost the uncertainty. So we cannot really predict exactly. So I tried my best. We don't know what happens. So this is with very low approximate estimation. The revenues from financial 2016 is 375 crores. In financial 2019, it's 798 crores. In financial 2020, it's 773 crores. So I am expecting it to drop by 30% for the next year because already one quarter is gone. They did not open at all their casinos, so their one quarter revenues is completely gone. I don't know when it will open, so I'm at least estimating 30% drop in their revenue. So I'm estimating 541 crores for financial 2021, 676 crores for financial 2022. I expect it to increase by 25% for financial 2022, and then financial 2023 I am expecting it to grow by 20%. So 676 crores for financial 2022, 812 crores for financial 2023. If you have a look at the net profit, it increased from 38 crores to 186 crores in financial 2020. So I'm expecting it to drop by 27% for financial 2021, and then increase by 25% for 2022 and 20% for 2023. So I'm estimating 135 crores for 2021, 169 crores for financial 2022, and 203 crores for financial 2023. So if you have a look at a price target with the current valuation, which is P 13, 1 year price target is 66 rupees, 2 year price target 83 rupees, 3 year price target of 99 rupees, with a price cumulative growth of decreasing by 27% for 1 year, 8% for 2 year, and increase of 10% for 3 year. So I feel historically they were trading at around 30-40 P's. So currently they are trading at around 13 PE. So I am estimating long-term PE of 24. So it will not go in 1 year. So in the near term, it's extremely difficult to go for this level PE. But for the long term, I feel the growth is pretty good. The management quality is good. I feel the valuation is on the lower side. So with a strong large investors are backing. So Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, they hold around 7.5% of the company. Radhakrishnan Damani, he recently increased 0.5%. He hold around 1.5% in this company. So I feel the management is pretty good. They are backed by large investors. So I feel the long term story is intact, but in the short term they are going to have extreme pain. But for the long term, I am estimating with a PE of 24. So for with 1 year price target of 120 rupees, 2 year price target of 150 rupees, 3 year price target of 180 rupees, with the price cumulative growth of 33% for 1 year, 66% for 2 year, 99% for 3 year. So if you ask me, would I invest in this stock? So I cannot bet big in this company because there are a lot of risks and I don't know when it will open. And for example, in Las Vegas, so after reopening casinos, their footfall is not reaching to the before COVID levels. We don't know how the situation will evolve and how people will react. So there is a huge risk associated with this company. So there are huge rewards as well in the long term, but in the short term, it is going to face much pain. So I might invest a small amount or have a very small allocation of my portfolio, but I will not invest huge amount, huge bet in this particular company. So that's my personal opinion. I am not recommending this stock. So you have to do your due diligence before investing in any stock. So that's all for today. Thank you for watching. And if you like this video, like, share and comment. Also subscribe my channel and click a bell icon. So thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Bye bye.